one thing that they forgot to tell us is that value comes at different levels. I've always operated at the lowest value, at the lowest level of value. Now, I call it the 4 M's of value. Coming from my background and coming from the profession that I have chosen, the lowest form of value is muscle. But the problem with muscle is one. You are working with 2 variables that are very unstable, time and physical energy. When you work on that farm, it's not easy. But it's very hard for you to physically keep on working on that farm, being a laborer out there, working construction and become what? Become rich. So I had to ask myself, when I started the gym, I always started the gym using the only variables that I had. I was the biggest asset in my business. So I had to become very good at selling myself to my customers, selling myself to the vendors, selling myself to any stakeholder that I want to bring him into my business. So what is the second level of value that I had to elevate myself to? The third M there was management. I had to know how to manage people. I had to duplicate myself. Because if I'm just myself in the gym on my own, I'm very limited. If I'm talking to him, there's no way I'm going to be able to talk to who? To him. What's your name, sir? Kyle. What's your name? Thor. Now, there's no way I'll be talking to Thor at the same time I'm talking to who? Even though he can hear what I'm saying, but I'm not tailored to what his needs are. Because if I don't give Kyle what he wants, and I'm forcing what I'm giving Thor on Kyle, who's going to lose? Who's going to lose? Who determines value? Is it me or him? So if I'm talking to him here, who is getting value out of my talk here? So I'm going to lose him. But I can't really make money by just focusing on one person. So I need to duplicate myself. And that's where the third level of value becomes management. How are you good at managing others? And the simplicity there is, management is simply how do you make people see what the company vision is in alignment with their own personal vision? Because if I'm telling you what to do, I'm just telling you what to do. Last time I checked, Kyle, you're a human being. What do human beings do when they, especially men, when you tell them to do what you want to do? We don't. We do the opposite, right? Because if you want to talk to people and just do what you want them to do without you getting in alignment with what their personal vision and what the company vision is, then work with dogs. Dogs don't fight you, right? Now, the second level of value that I had to learn very quickly is what? Mouth. Communication. You can't make it if you cannot communicate. And a good example, if you look at, a good salesman writes this on check. A good salesman will sell you a Ferrari, will sell you a Rolls Royce, a car that he did make. The person that made that car was at the lowest level, which is labor, the guy that worked on the car. But the guy that is selling the car makes 10 times more than the guy that was sweating doing what? Movie stars, singers. They move us with what? Do we all have mouth? Do we all have them? But how many of us use it rightly? Are you using your mouth to bless others or to curse others? Because unless you start using your mouth to bless others, then communication becomes a tool that turns against who? Against you. Now, where I am now, if I want to achieve my goals, I have to go to the highest level. Who can tell me what the highest level is? Yeah? Mind. Imagination. Elon Musk He can see the invisible and bring it to visible to normal people. It tells us about an electric car even before he created one. Do we all have the ability to tap into our imagination? Do we? What's your name, sir? Simon. Simon. Simon, do we have the ability to tap into our imagination? What's stopping us? And how do we change that?
Stepping away, taking some time out from the ordinary life, spend some time out from what we are used to on a daily basis.
Beautiful. But now, if we go back to the lowest level, level 4, muscle, what do you need in terms of physical work? What kind of environment do you need to thrive at that level? So, I can't hear you.
A healthy or positive environment.
You need to be?
In a healthy or positive environment.
Healthy or positive environment. Also, negative environment works. Have you ever seen a boxer come from the suburbs? Yeah? But, I mean, they do it for exercise. They do it for exercise, but you won't find them fighting in the ring. Most world champions come from townships or ghettos. Why? Yeah? Management. What kind of environment do we need? How do you move from muscle to management in terms of levels of value? What's your name, sir? Ashville. What do we do from master to management? How do we move from level 4 to level 3?
I think in the one instance, you are in control of yourself.
Okay.
You're working on your muscle and the assets that you possess. In the other sense, you have to understand how to encourage similar behavior in others and motivate them to, or lead them rather, towards whatever your vision is.
Yes, sir.
You use your muscle in environments that stress you, and I mean in a good, positive way, that you're learning new skills, that you're constantly using a gym as such to learn new skills, to challenge yourself, and to create a new set of understanding of what it means to then lead, and then you use your mouth in order to help others around you develop those skill sets as well.
Okay. Anybody with a varying, Mom, how are you? What's your name? Nomfundo. I can't hear you. I heard the name, but I can't hear your opinion. We're talking about the four levels of value. What kind of environment or what tools do you need to move from one level to the next? And we were talking about moving from the lowest level, which is muscle, to the third level, which is management. What tools do we need? What are the things that we need to do to move us a step higher?
Maybe I missed the other ones because I just came now.
Okay.
But in my environment, you would need to, it depends on the environment. If it's a stressful environment, you will need to be focused and need someone who can basically bring you back to a level where you can understand where you need to go. So I think focus will work for me.
Beautiful.
What about motivation? So there needs to be some motivating factor that's pushing you yourself to get through each level. Each one requires something more and different of you. And so if you're not motivated, you'd stay on one level.
Okay, let's use you as an example. What motivates you? If you are on the lowest level, which is muscle, you want to move to management, what will motivate you?
My children.
Your children. Okay? I saw another hand up. What's your name, sir?
Weasley.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the Super Brew name. So me, it's a bit different. So I think when you start at the level of muscle, is that comes back to 10,000 hours, that you understand your muscle with your 10,000 hours. However, using that muscle to create enough value, whether you create the opportunity of becoming management and being a manager, transferring those skills through the value you've created with your muscle.
Beautiful. Anybody else that wants to add something on?
If I can add, it was a great talk I was listening to the other day, and the individual states that in order to become what you want, you have to shed your previous skin. You have to reinvent your personality, you have to reinvent your values, you have to reinvent the strength. And the only way you do that is by learning the skill set that surrounds that next level, embodying it fully, and then setting your sights on that next step to then constantly progress. So my answer would be there's shedding your skin and embracing that higher level as you move through the ranks through management until the point where you've consumed the idea of what it means to manage and lead others.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. You can't be who you want to be if you keep on being who you are. Yeah? Okay?
Yeah, with that, I think from experience, if I look at it in corporate, I think self-mastery is quite important. But I think also the ability to move from self, because a lot of strong experts battle to delegate because it's about self. So I think you have to have a slightly broader perspective as you move to management, to think about the organization or team versus self.
Okay, back here.
I wrote for muscle, time and effort. Management, I said head and thinking. And then communication, I said influence and persuasion. And mind, I said creativity and dream.
100%. 100%. Because what I was going to say is, I need us to know from what level are we moving from to. We were talking about moving from level 4 to level 3. I mean, she's just summarized the whole thing up. Now, the important thing here is we have to look at the specific things that we need to do to move us from one level to the next level. As she says, the lowest level is physical. You have to do it. And this is where you have to sweat. There's just no way you're going to do it without that. From level 3, from level 4 to level 5, in most cases, you have to upgrade yourself. And that's where all of a sudden you start picking books, listening to podcasts, you start choosing your friends based on what your purpose is rather than just hanging with people because you like the outfit, right? Now, from level 3 to level 2, it's very hard for you to move into that unless you join a mastermind group. You need people that challenge you. You need people that call up your bullshit. You know, you can never make your own laws because you'll break them when it doesn't suit you. Constantly, you can't. That's why you tell your kids you can't eat while watching telly. Then they find you eating. What do you always say? Because I'm your dad. No, that just doesn't. Because you've just broken the laws in that house. That's why for us we need people that we look up to. People that we look up to, people that we can look at, and people that we respect when it comes to things that they set up and for us. And of course, when it goes to the highest level, when we're talking about imagination, you need a mentor in your life. Mentoring versus modeling. It's very hard for you to become the best version of yourself because there is nobody in here that has a dream that has never been achieved by somebody else. The best inventors are thieves. Anything that you want and anything that you think about, somebody's already created. If somebody hasn't, if you look out in nature, it's there. Somebody must have looked at a bee and think, how does this thing fly? I can create a helicopter. So if you look at that like that, now we have to look at, can I use this? If we have to look at that, then it brings us to a very simple triangle here, a pyramid. here where we're going to look at our physical, we look at our emotional, we look at our mental, and we look at our spiritual. All these things need to be in alignment for you to be a successful business person. Because if you don't work on most of those, chances are you will be very much lopsided. Now, if we use the simple analogy of the 4 levels of value, where does it start? There. Now, the whole world is run on principles, right? The whole world is run on principles. Who can share with me a principle? What is a law? Who can share with me a universal law? Some people kill. I wish it was, yeah?
Speed of light in the vacuum is constant.
That's a law. And what makes it a principle? A principle has to be applied across any field. If what he says can be proven in a lab, then I should be able to apply it in my business and get the outcome that is promised. If it doesn't, then it's not a principle at all, right? So let's use a very simple example. Carl, what sport are you in?
Football.
Football. Okay. Now, his cardiovascular fitness is better than mine. He's fit, his heart is bigger, he can run. How young are you, if you don't mind me asking?
7.
So I've got 20 years on him. So if I told you that if I'm going to take Carl and we're going to run a 100-meter race, right? 100-meter race, but I'm going to double that distance. I'll do 200. I'll get to do 200. He gets to run a 100-meter race. Who's going to win? Huh? Depends. Depends. Now, I want you to say, what if I'm riding a bicycle? I'm going to go 200 meters. He's going to go 100. But I'm going to ride a bicycle. And even to sweeten the deal, it's an electric bike. Who's going to win? You. But Kyle is going to say it's not fair. Right? Then I'll say, okay, Kyle, you take the electric bike, I'll take a car. You go 100 meters, I'll go 500 meters. Who's going to win? Yeah? Now, what I'm trying to say here is, you can always make up in leverage what you lack in ability. Right? Now, why are some people, look around you in your circle of friends, your rich friends. I did this exercise. I went home, and I was sitting, and I was looking at the people that I'm with in my mastermind group, the people that are killing it. I listen to them. I ask them questions. I go to their homes. I'm trying to see the difference between myself and who? And these people. I don't see any difference. So what makes them richer? Why are they making more money? How are you, sir? What's your name? Roger. Roger that. What makes them richer?
I think it's their attitude and their hunger.
I have a good attitude, man.
I think it's the system.
Then, how do you become rich? There has to be a principle, right?
You said the principle is 100 meters and 2 people are running the race. The difference is that you're using known physical objects in order to get to the end quicker.
So leverage.
Leverage.
So which means that these rich people, anybody that is richer than you is not smarter than you. He's leveraged. Yeah? He's leveraged. Because, and I'm telling you, I need you to do that exercise. Listen to them. Ask questions. go to their homes, hang out with them, see how they spend. And you're like, no way. There's just no way this guy's loaded like this and I'm struggling. Yeah? Because you have to take stock of your weaknesses and strength. You constantly have to, because you're the problem. It's not the world. You're the problem. What is it that I'm not doing? And then you realize that when it comes to money, it depends. Money will always follow assets. Right? Money will always follow assets. Money, if I take Thor, and Thor is making, I'm going to use a very easy figure for us to work with. Thor is making 25,000 rands a year, which means in 40 years, Thor is going to have made $1 million. Right? We come to Kyle here. Kyle is making 250,000 a year. So how many times is Kyle richer than Thor? And what's your name again? Zara. And then we come to Zara here. Zara is making $1 million a month. So Zara is 400 times richer than who? They're all millionaires, but is he rich? Is he rich? It's taken him 40 years. Is he rich? Yeah?
Isn't that how he done his being rich, right?
No, we're talking about money now. Yeah. Yeah, No, we talk about other things.
This is an entrepreneurship class.
Yeah. We're talking about money now. Who do you want to be? Zara makes $1 million a month. He makes $1 million in 40 years. So what does that teach us? What is the principle here? Money loves speed. It's not how much you're making now that makes you poor. You're making enough to live on, but you're taking too long. How many times do you get paid a month? And your expenses? Now, that equation doesn't work. That equation does not work. You have to flip the equation where you have to be paid every day and spend. Now, how do we do that? Nomfundo, your eyes are talking, your mouth is shut. Talk to me. How do we do that?
We need to have assets, as you said.
We need to have?
Assets.
What is an asset? What is an asset? What does this society tell us is an asset? What are we fighting so much that we're so happy when we buy? Yeah? Is that an asset? What's your name? Mike Wynn. So what's an asset?
It needs to generate cash flow. It needs to bring money into a company or whatever.
So what is the first asset that you need to develop? Yourself. The first asset. God is a businessman. Right? God is a businessman. And like every other businessman, he wants a return on his. The first asset that you need to develop is where? It's here. I can't tell you what to do from a physical point of view, but your body is built around principles. It's all about you understanding the principles that run your body for you to be able to live in it. What are the principles? Sir, what's your name? Yeah? Label. What are the principles? For you to be healthy. There are specific things that we have to do. Yeah. To be healthy and to be optimal, to be functional.
So you have to maintain a level of fitness, right?
Okay? Movement.
Yeah.
Okay?
You have to take in things that are healthy
Okay?
as opposed to things that are not.
Okay.
You also have to take care of yourself mentally,
Okay.
not have like stress.
If you don't want stress, you die. Because as long as you deal with money and you live with people, you'll always be stressed. So we can't take stress away. We just have to learn to manage stress. Now let's look at the physical aspects. What are the principles here? The principles for physical: one, you breathe in and you breathe. What happens if you breathe in one way? You die. So we need what? We need air. How many days can you go without food? How many? How many days did Jesus fast in the Bible? How many days do Muslims fast? So where is this 3 days coming from? You can comfortably fast. You're not going to be a happy person, but you can comfortably fast for how many days? 40 days. If you look across all religion, if you look across all traditions, fasting is a very big part of it. And you'll find it's one of those things that most of us we've given up. But when life is caving in you, and when the pressures of the world are too much, one of my go-to strategies is what? Fasting. Because food clouds you. The minute you eat too much, you can't think. You think you're Bill Gates or something. So here is food. What happens if you don't sleep? What happens? How many hours do we have in a day? 24 hours, right? Divide this by 3. What does it give us? So what does that mean? 8 hours to work, 8 hours to eat, 8 hours to sleep.
Can you tell that to Gibs?
But what do we do? Most of us end up eating between 12 and 16 hours. Anytime you do the right thing at the wrong time in the wrong place, it turns against you. If you're busy watching television while you're eating, something has to go bad. When you start watching television in bed, rather than sleeping, something goes bad. Anytime you're doing something good in the wrong place, that changes. So what else? So here we need sleep. What else do we need? Water. These are basics. There is nobody in here that is immune to that. If I take those things away from you, majority of us will die. Now, those are principles that we all have to adhere to, because if you don't do this, then from this lowest level of value, your foundation is already flawed. Emotional. How do we build our emotional resilience? How do we build our emotional fitness? Am I talking to myself? What's your name, Mom? No Kwanda. How do we do that? Relationships? With? Okay. Why not with animals? Yeah? Okay. Okay. People, okay. What else? Okay. Anything else? One of the things that is affecting our emotional fitness, the number one tool that is affecting our emotional fitness is television. Because on average, if you look at the amount of screen time we spend a week, we spend on average between 35 and 40 hours a week on screen. And we're talking about your phone, talking about your computer, we're talking about your TV. Now, because most of us are so addicted to drama, what happens? What happens to your emotional state when you're watching a horror movie? It can't be entertaining unless somebody's head is being chopped off, right? So the more blood we see in television, and what does that do? from an emotional point of view, most of us never really recover.
I want to appreciate what you're doing, considering the fact that we just came from a tough journey that required us to tap into that spiritual element. And if you really tap into that spiritual element, like you mentioned it, it's about knowing who you are, because there's 3 types of people. And that who you are is also influenced by your value system. So I'm finding this very critical for the guys that are going into the entrepreneurship stream, because you'll be tested. The last month of October, we were crying. We didn't know why we were crying. You you wake up and you're sitting there, you're like, oh, Prof wants 3 documents. Consulting, you must reflect, you must dig deep, so there's so many things that is being demanded. On the other side, you must tap into your inner self. Here, you must be speaking with clients and understanding what their issues are. And then there's a business plan, as it was a lot of work that required one person to really know who they are. So if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you stand for, if you don't know your value system, it's very easy to tap out. You can easily say, I can't do this anymore. So it's not going to be an easy journey for those that are going into it, but what he's saying is critical in your success. So that's what I just wanted to say what you're saying is really important. It's aligned. We went through that, and that was critical to the success of actually reaching at the end.
No, beautiful.
So, hi, I'm Renelle Modley, a Gibs student coming to an end of a tough 2 years of the MBA program in the entrepreneurship stream. And I think today we've just had the pleasure of having Steve with us, and the timing of his talk was just really appropriate at the end, because having gone through the past 2 years, there are a lot of these fundamental values that we can lose along the way, given all the noise and the pressure of the MBA. So having listened to him about taking care of your body, as one example, like one of the things you have to do in order to reach your full potential, and it comes back to bite you if you don't in other aspects, or listening to how holistic well-being and what that is about, like your spirit, your environment, your physical, what you physically surround yourself with, about intentions. Are we continuously thinking about what am I putting in my body? What am I thinking about? Who am I talking to? And I think all of these nuggets were good reminders of getting back to basics at a very appropriate time, and especially for the new cohort that joins us. I was hoping that, going forward, we'd always have this kind of well-being talks when we end a journey, and for the new cohort that starts a journey, because it really paves the way. And I think if holistically we take care of ourselves, mind, body, spirit, and soul, we can achieve so much. It's not just about being in the books and doing things and on with the rat race. It's also about taking stock and seeing who are you as a person, what are your values, what do you stand for, and how can you reach your full potential, what new behaviors do we need to adopt, what old behaviors and old personality traits do we need to forget about. And there's just so much that I've taken away. And I know I've said a lot, but I'm going to process this more. But it's been extremely valuable and well-timed. So thank you, Steve.
My name is Kyle Hunking. I've just finished the MBA program here at Gibs. Our course came to an end about 2 weeks ago, and it's been a 2-year program that has now culminated. So we've now completed our last encounter session with Steve. We've had a number of encounter sessions throughout the year, and they've ranged from motivational speakers to life coaches, to business owners, to startup owners, to really early entry entrepreneurs, and the sort of journeys that they've gone through. And we've looked to nitpick from their experiences and their journeys. And I really found tonight's encounter session very unique, refreshing and different, in that while Steve has been very successful in his entrepreneurial journey, his angle on the whole discussion was more on the individual. What does it mean to be mindful of the environment in which we operate? What does it mean to look after ourselves physically? Yes, metaphorically talking from a gym point of view, but it's everything about that. What are we consuming and putting it into our bodies that sets the foundation, allowing us to then reach higher levels? I really enjoyed Steve's breakdown of the 4 M's. you know, looking at the mind, the management, the mouth, sorry, and how those are interconnected. And I think it's so important that once we actually understand those levels and how we are progressing through them, and Steve alluded to almost doing a self-audit and a self-check, so that we are mindful of who we are surrounding ourselves with. We are mindful of what we are speaking. We are mindful of what we are consuming. All of a sudden then, through a self-audit, we are able to establish whether or not this is an environment that is indeed healthy for us, one is in which we can prosper and grow, and is it actually fundamentally aligned to our values of who we want to be and what we want to contribute. I really found it impactful how Steve said, how much is enough? And I think this is such a mindset which so many people lack, this fundamental understanding of what does it mean to be fulfilled spiritually, what does it mean to be fulfilled when you're aligned with your values, and what does it mean and not to be ashamed of earning money. And at that point, once you've earned your keep, it's the beautifulness of being able to give all of that away and to create that gift that you manifested with yourself and pass that on to tens or hundreds or possibly even thousands of people, that they may just get a percentage of that and grow that from 1 to 100 themselves. And all of a sudden you've got this multiplication of humans looking after themselves physically, humans being more aware of their emotional state, humans being more aware of their mental state, and of course then being fundamentally in tune with their spirituality. What does this create? A more healthy environment, a more healthy society, a more pleasurable life. Because when death does stare at you, which we're all experiencing, are going to experience or have experienced, we all of a sudden see that you know, the meaningless items that we attach value to are actually meaningless. And it's actually, there's so much more that supersedes our beliefs, and that is the joy in being able to enjoy the gift that life has given us and being able to pass that on to so many more. And Steve, you just touched on that in so many beautiful ways, and there's so much more there to unpack. So I thank you for those gifts, and yeah, for me personally, I just took so much from the talk, and I wish we could have stayed for longer and heard more. Thank you.
Thank